and we are super grateful for this award. Again, it's a wonderful tradition, and I think traditions are important to keep us connected. All right, so we also like to thank Intermountain Healthcare for their continued support of this award. And I see Pallavi, you are on Zoom and everyone can see you. Can you hear us? And can you want to say something?
Thank you so much, Guilherme, for doing the introduction. Sorry I couldn't be there in person today. I'm in a different conference here at the Transformation Center at Intermountain Health. But congratulations to the recipient, Maddie, and so eager to learn more about the research that won them this award.
Thank you, Pallavi. And so the winner of this John Morgan Awards this year is Maddie Shabanian. She's mentored by our department chair, Dr. Yves Lussier. She's an AI engineer with over 7 years of experience in applying deep learning techniques, and her research focuses on developing clinically meaningful fusion hybrid AI methods for rare diseases. It's interesting space because we all talk about big data. Everyone wants to work with very large data sets, and we can't forget the people who have rare diseases and we actually have to deal with small data sets. So that's really cool. Scott, do you want to say anything about the history of the award and the?
I think you've mentioned everything pretty much. I'm trying to remember. I've been the chair of the awards committee for, I don't remember, at least 10 years plus. This year, all three of the applicants were very well qualified. It was a close thing, very hard on the judges. Maddie was a little bit higher on what we figured on the paper as far as contribution to medicine and overall impact, I think, based on things. So congratulations to you, but to the others too. It was close, very close as far as all three of them, as far as other years in the past, and they were very much qualified.
Thank you, Scott. Congrats. Maddie?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Round of applause.
I'm really honored to be the recipient of Dr. Morgan Award. Actually, this recognition motivates me to continue advancing my research, my AI research in precision medicine, and definitely that would not have been possible without supporting my team and Eve's guidance. Thank you.
Let's do now. Do you like to say something about your dad and his history in the department? Any stories you would like to share?
I could share something.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, Maddie, I won't take very long.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think, did anybody here know my dad? I think Scott did.
I may be one of the last ones in the department that remembers working with John Morgan.
Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna tell you a couple things about him and then tell you like maybe the origin of the award. Is that all right? I know you're ready to go, but.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Please.
so my dad, he's an early riser. And like many times, like 4 a.m., he's up and he's working. And I mean, everybody else was kind of up and working. He was not a quiet person. And he would just bang around the house, or even like on a Saturday, he'd go out in the garden. We had a half-acre garden. We had goats and chickens, but we were still in Mill Creek. And he would start the tiller at like 7 in the morning, he'd wait till 7 and then start the tiller. I mean, neighbors liked him, but not on Saturday mornings. And so he's an early riser, and he's also an avid hiker or walker. So he'd hike in all these canyons all along the valley. He would hike out in the desert. He loved the desert.
With his dog, right?
Yeah, always with the dog, and many times with the kids. My family had 7 kids. And he hiked in Scotland, and he hiked in New Zealand. And one summer he hiked the full length of the railroad from like Bountiful to the Narrows down south, he would just like, keep track of the segments. And he would kind of like break into the rail yard and like walk along the rail tracks. He was like, he loved trains and hiking, so that was his thing. But the origin of the award is when he finished he had to work on his dissertation. He has 5 children at home. He's working a second job. And he had a little office off my parents' bedroom, and he'd get up at 4 a.m. and start typing away. Like he wrote a dissertation on a typewriter. So then, after a month or 2 of this, my mom's like, this is not good. This is not working. So he checked into a motel and lived there for a couple weeks to finally finish it up. It's like this crappy hotel on State Street. And I remember as a kid going to visit there. And, my mom would take dinner, and I remember looking in, there's papers everywhere and a typewriter on the table, and he's just working 24/7 to try to finish this. So, so then years later, my parents are both educators, and they thought, what can we do to sort of give back? And they thought about that time that was really hard for them. And they said, let's see if we can help a graduate student who's just trying to finish. And I don't know what your circumstances are. Whatever they are, I'm sure he'd be happy, and he's super thrilled that that this funds can help you. So congratulations.
Thank you. Impressive. Actually, my background is also electrical engineering.
Yeah.
That was the same. Thanks for sharing that impressive story. So, my research actually focuses on rare diseases in a small sample, transcriptomics sample size. So, we often face with fundamental paradox. It means those clinically important problems often come with the smallest sample size. At the same time, we are still expected to implement AI model, be robust, reliable, and clinically trustworthy. So that's the big challenging, because actually AI, deep learning, machine learning, they are hungry of the data. So today I'm going to present how we tackle and approach those challenges by rethinking not only on model, but also on smarting our data set, how we can make or extract more information from our data set to help model to understand better and make a decision. So let's start with this research. Okay, I'm going to review 3 studies I have done in my PhD through almost 3 years here. The first study I have done is the classification for breast cancer and rhinovirus, HRV. Second study is the classification between sepsis and septic shock. Third study is the classification for coccidioidomycosis, actually well known to valley fever. I'm sure you saw similar picture and this in the conference, in the LinkedIn, in the social media. So no doubt, everyone talk about AI these days, and most they are interested in using AI, having AI. Fortunately or unfortunately, most of them use AI tools without having the fundamental knowledge about the AI, about the model. And they actually miss the point of the pre-processing of the data. I would like to mention AI, specifically deep learning. They are not alchemy. They don't do magic for us. As long as our data set is clean, is good, you will receive the good result. So we cannot input the junk data and we expect the good performance. It's impossible. So our goal is to design a robust mechanistic AI model without relying on data augmentation or transfer learning. These two AI technique usually used for those tasks faced with a small sample size, which might introduce unwanted biases in our research based on the paired sample data set we are using here. So all model I'm going to talk today, all trained from scratch. None of them we use transfer learning, means pre-trained model or the data augmentation on that. So actually we use the within subject fold change, for example, as stimulated versus baseline to remove inter-subject and framework biases. So then also we use the pathway information, pathway features to make and add some more knowledge to our data. So I call that knowledge augmented, because we extracted the biology information and knowledge information to the data, extract from data to the model. So actually, single subject study is to transfer raw data into information, into knowledge level information. And this type of the features less sensitive to framework or hardware biases and differences. That's the point Lucier's lab focused on that. So in this study, I use the AI agents, machine learning operation, and best of my knowledge, I'm the first person in Utah University. I'm doing that in all our research. We do end-to-end automated all of our training, running, and experiment our research. So as I mentioned, we face with some challenges. So over 65,000 known human diseases are infrequent or untreated. So, and the main challenging of that is we have a small n, small sample, and the large p, large features. So the if you divide by that, actually we have at least 600 times feature than the sample. So those who knows about the machine learning, the risk of the overfitting is very high in this type of the data set. So we have to make sure we are robust on the model and prevent of the overfitting. And in this case, in this research, I was not able to use the data augmentation. That's the one technique to prevent of the overfitting, or pre-trained model already on that type of the data set. We couldn't find it. So we were very careful, don't mislead our model or don't bias our AI model. So yeah, we had some limitation based on the sample size I'm using that. So we addressed the previous gap. Actually, fold change, log to fold change, many researchers, they use it as introduce the biology or interpret the biology, but rarely they use as an input. They didn't use as actually features to train the model. And we have done that, and we showed how the performance will increase after using the log fold change, and also how we use the pathway, go to the knowledge level features, and again increase the performance. So As I mentioned, this is the first MLOps machine learning operation through the weighting and biases on a small sample size. And this actually publication is in the GEMIR journal, and it's recognized by the weight and biases, and I was interviewed with them. Still is not public, but we have done that, and as a first research using the machine learning operation on a small sample size. So, and it's my pleasure. Also, this is the first deep learning dissertation in this department, and I have done on the third study. And yeah, let's jump. What's that AI agent? What is the machine learning operation? Actually, MLOps is the set of the practice as an intersection of machine learning, DevOps, and data engineering. Actually, maybe bigger than that. So that's the intersection of everything, is at the high level, advanced level, end-to-end automation. You control everything. You put everything on the loop, and live you can monitor. That's the point I would like to highlight. And also we have controlling of the version of the code, control of the versioning of the data. So means we control on everything on the how we train the model. That's some people call it human in the loop. I'm not sure exactly it is the right, because we are not changing anything, just we monitor that. And until the goal is achieved, that's I remember we had really hard time before machine learning operation to see if the code crashed, if we got it, again, change the hyperparameters. We don't have those challenges anymore. Okay, as I mentioned, study 1 is about the breast cancer and HRV. That's the comprehensive research. We have done that. Study 2 about the classify between the sepsis and septic shock, and study 3 about the classification on valley fevers. And this is the first, would be the first publication using the deep learning algorithms on the valley fever. So this is the all data set in 3 years I work on that. Let's start with breast cancer and HRV. This is the all sample, all the patient has the pre and post condition information driving to the in breast cancer. We classify between the TP53 versus the PIK3CA, and the number is not balanced. Always I face with imbalanced data set. That's another challenges. And HRV between the asymptomatic and symptomatic, and 42 sample and 19 sample. HRV was the smallest data set I have done and made the robust AI model on that. And both are public data set and already published in Nature journal. That's why we trust it. We use that data set. The septic shock is from our hospital here, is the unpublished data set, and sample size is 28. I know they are still working on that. That's the in vivo platelet RNA. And the last one is a very impressive nonlinear data set, is the ex vivo PMC. Actually is the classified between the pulmonary and the DCM, disseminated valley fever. And again, this is the unpublished data set, and the sample is 51. That was the biggest sample I have done in our research. So that's the summary of the all data set. We jump in study 1 for the breast cancer and HRV. In this research, we have done the 18 individual analysis on this both data set, breast cancer and HRV. And even we have a lot of research on breast cancer. Some of the subtype of the cancer still we face with the small sample size, and the people are not able to implement AI models. So we have done that with this sample size, and we showed how both work on the feature, making the smart feature can help to improve the performance, and how complexity of the model also help to understand those features. So let me highlight that in all the research, I followed the parsimony theory and no free lunch theory, and I didn't go unnecessarily with the complex model. Always I started with a simple model, then step by step to actually increase the complexity in our model based on the nonlinearity in our data set. So we started very comprehensive research on this study to prove how just the one sample for each patient, as the conventional and traditional, the other groups are working on that, just the affected tissue. And then we also have the paired sample. We have pre and post condition for all our patients. For example, for cancer patient, we have cancerous tissue versus unaffected margin, and for HRV before and after the infection. So then we made the log2 fold change, and also single subject study. We made also pathway knowledge level features. So all the everything went through the multiple machine learning algorithms. Finally, we came up with the random forest, and just I showed the random forest. If you ask me, Maddie, as you mentioned, did you try the deep learning? Yes, I did, and was not very improved after using the CNN or all those complex. So I stay on the random forest for the high interpretability on that model. So also we have done 2 validation on this research. We use actually in all the research, I use 5-fold cross validation to make sure, and those cross validation is stratified because my data set is imbalanced. I was sure we have a balanced class in each fold. And then also we have done the feature ablation. That's the type of the engineer interpreting of the result. So we remove some part of the model, or we remove some part of the feature selection the model selected for us to improve what happened after that. The model did a good job or not. So we have done all of that in this research. So as I mentioned, we have 3 data transformation strategy here as the traditional, and we went through all the features. I will go through each of them is about 25,000 feature, and also we made the fold change for those samples, and then we went through the pathway and knowledge level feature. So actually, the main goal of the pathway is, instead of using the raw gene data, we go summarize many genes into biology meaningful features. So we made the knowledge level information before feeding to the model. So actually, those features actually refer to the effect size of the pathway, which measure the magnitude of the transcriptomics changes between 2 conditions for each patient. So that's, we came up with the 1 upregulated, -1 downregulated, and 0 unchanged. So I have a 3 class for them. So this is the type of that. And let's talk in detail. Actually, I talk about that, but I thought here is easy. You see a Bose data set, the breast cancer. That's the imbalance data set we faced with 23 and 19. And the smallest one was 9 and 10. And another beauty of the smarting feature, knowledge level or information feature is also we can control the high dimension in our data set. As you see here in the breast cancer, this is the conventional technique. We have 22,000. After we went through the actually go a pathway, we went down to 12,000, and then we went through the 4,000 for the pathway. That's for the fold change and the pathway. And actually in the HRV also same, from 20,000, we went down to 13,000 for fold change, and to pathway 553. So this is the overview of the whole AI research I have done. After we have done those pre-processing and working on that data, so we went through the model, and in the AI agent, we have sweep. We have a smart way of sweep, means everything doing automated for the finding those hyperparameters. And you can imagine when we go through the complex model and deep learning, fusion, hybrid, oh my God, I think you can imagine how many hyperparameters we have and how we can done if suddenly we want, okay, this model doesn't work, let's try another model, or this interval is not working, let's change the other interval. So MLOps help us to do everything automated. And when we say this model is the best model, means this model is the best model. We could not get a better model with that data set. So this is the loop you are saying for the each end-to-end, each run went through the, actually depends on the data set. Here is 300 epochs. And then after the random forest selected the top candidate for us based on the data set, select the gene or select the go, means the pathway features, gene ontology. So we remove those top features. Then we train the model. Now, before removing those features, as you know, always we save the best model. So we save the best model, we save all the hyperparameters, we remove those top features and let the model without those top features, okay, go learn again. And the significantly performance drop. So means those genes, those pathway, the model selected were the good candidate for that diseases. So this is the summarize of the performance. As you see here is the traditional conventional technique. So the model selected 21 mRNA, and the accuracy was around 72. And the test accuracy was 78, and the precision was around 88. I will show you in the next slide. So again, when we went through the fold change, the precision improved, and but the test accuracy is almost same. And the model selected 97 genes. And when we went through the pathway, we had a significant increase in performance. Test accuracy jumped to 89, and the model selected 21. So this is for the breast cancer. For HRV, as I mentioned, HRV was the smallest data set I work on that. So when we really faced with the very small sample size, we can just stay with cross-validation. I stayed with just 5-4 cross-validation, no unseen test. We didn't have enough data, so we didn't want model stuck in learning. So again, after shifting from the single sample to the paired sample, we had a performance in the fold change and the pathway. But in the HRV, we had a higher performance in the fold change rather than the pathway. We estimate maybe because of the high heterogeneity in the cancer work better in the knowledge level features, and HRV work better in fold change. And both of those results, those gene or go terms selected by the model, both are mechanistic answer to us. But as you know, usually fold change is not very easy to interpret, but the pathway is understandable, is more actually interpretable for the human to understand those actually function. So again, in this plot, I showed how after moving and making a smart feature, how performance improved, and after using the MLOps, without using the MLOps, again, how performance improved. Let's just focus on the triangle and the circle for now. So the green color is the conventional, the purple is the fold change, and the orange one is for the pathway. So as you see, after jumping to the paired sample, you see all performance improved. And this is ablation analysis, that S-square. You see when we remove those, how the performance drops significantly. And this is one of the engineer interpret of the result with the ablation analysis. We show how those features selected by model actually was good and work perfect. So this both drop significantly. So I just selected some of the slide. Actually the research was really big, and we had multiple supplements on the also paper. That's the published already in the JMIR, and also there is another chapter book regarding this research. So definitely we have some limitation. So we face with a small sample size in HRV. If we had a higher, definitely the result was more trustworthy with the unseen test. So we didn't have it. And here, I didn't show that the deep learning algorithms that time still didn't, I didn't implement that hybrid and fusion model, but it's our plan to come back on this data set and train again with that deep learning model to see how's the performance. So this is another limitation so far on this research. So in summary, we showed incorporating, actually integrating the pathway, paired sample, information and knowledge level features, how improve the performance of the model, and how MLOps machine learning operation also was able to improve our performance. So as you see in HRV, the highest precision was 97% and recall was 95% through the cross-validation. We didn't have the unseen data set I mentioned. In the breast cancer is for the unseen test data set, precision was 90% and recall was 90%. So we showed how paired sample actually increased the precision by 8.8% and recall by 6%, and how performance improved without the MLOps and with MLOps. With MLOps, increased the performance in precision by 14.5% and recall by 12.5%. Again, the point is not only the performance, the point is how we can make the robust model, how we can trust that the model and the result. So let's jump to the study 2, the classification for the septic and septic shock. That's the, unfortunately, still the sepsis and septic shock are major cause of ICU mortality between 10 to 15% in shock. And the current septic shock prediction is often occurs around 4 hours. It's too late for get the optimal result for our patient. It's really late. And so we use the platelet RNA as already published in some Nature journal, and they prove the platelet RNA is the best kind of the data set for the sepsis group and shows the stability and relevant clinically feasible in this case. So in the study 2, based on our result in study 1, we didn't try with a single sample. We didn't try traditional. We just stay with the paired sample, fold change. We stay with the MLOps. So this is the data set we have. We have 28 paired sample, pre and post is the those patient did admit in the ICU and after 40 days recovery. So this is the data set, 16 for the sepsis and the 12 for the septic shock. So NEMA has done some research on this data set, try to identify the candidate for the sepsis before feeding to the AI model. So actually we begin by defining the platelet-based sepsis mechanism gene signature and using the two group, discovery and validation. And I put the reference of each data set here. And for this data set, actually, we found using the LIMA from 3,227, we found 300 genes that were significantly different between the sepsis and the septic shock. So again, we went to the validation, another sample for the sepsis. And then we came up with the 185 candidate, and we look for those 885, and in our data set, finally we came with 134 gene in the Utah data set. So for each patient, I had 134 genes. If you ask me, if I tried with all the genes, yes, I have done that, but this candidate works better, help the model understand, and those mislead with a lot of features and the data. So finally, we identified that 134, as I mentioned, and we went through again, after trying multiple machine learning algorithms, we stayed with the random forest. And we use the MLOps for that. After sweep everything and we run the model, we came up with the 30 transcript selected by the model. So this is the performance. The precision is 88. The recall is 83. and the ROC curve is 89%. So that's really high based on the previous publication. We beat the performance for the septic shock classification, as I know so far. And another things, 9 times I got this performance with different hyperparameters. So the model is completely robust, and that was the maximum we could get through the random forest. So in this study, because we plan to submit the paper in the sepsis journal, we skip the ablation analysis, is the actually engineer interpreting for the result. Just we stayed with the biology. So after our model random forest selected that 30 actually platelet transcripts, we use the SPAN framework on the string protein interaction network, and we found 14 of them significantly actually difference. And the reason of using a SPAN is because the SPAN assigned the empirical p-value to each node and edges, keeps only significant interaction. And JRONG have done the actually this cytoscape here visually to illustrate how those selected features are connected, node and edges, all of that. So together, they form a core protein-protein interaction network of the 55 proteins in the sepsis, and showed how model work, how model selected those 30 actually transcripts. So shows the sense external stimuli like LPS. I don't know where is that. I can show you now. And trigger innate immune signaling and TLR, and active stress responses, for example, for heat. I think the physician understand that better. So also importantly, this network links key immune and stress pathway. For example, in this Go terms, IRAC shows how to connect it highly, and then also is actually IRAC is the central of TLR, the pathway, and the also BSG, as you see, the second one also involved in the vascular and the inflammatory of the responses in this case, in this sepsis. So shows the model work good even with 88 precision. So definitely when we get the 88 means 12% we had off in the diagnosis. Okay, last study, and I'm very close to my defense. So Eve asked me keep the final results for my defense. So I'm going to announce what I have done in the third study. Really, I'm proud of that. And as a first research using the deep learning at the advanced way for the valley fever data set, really is valuable data set. And DCM, actually disseminated coccidioidomycosis, is the severe form of the valley fever when fungus escape from lungs and spread in other organs in the body. So it's uncommon, but if happens, it's very costly, and the mortality is very high, more than 30%. So unfortunately, so far, no clinical or molecular test identifies which newly infected patient will develop chronic in this case. So I would like to mention this disseminated valley fever is uncommon, and actually clean control data set took a long time. For Eve and his team took 12 years to gather this valuable data set, and with multiple fund of the NIH. They have done this data set is really valuable and very exciting data set for data scientists, for the deep learning expert, because once I run the machine learning, I got so excited. I found machine learning is not working on this data set. I was excited. Hey, let's start the deep learning to understand how we can understand this data set, how we can extract the nonlinearity in this data set. Even we stayed with the paired sample, even we stayed with all those features. So we needed complexity in our model. So this is the demographic of the data. This is the largest data set. I have done my PhD classified between DCM and pulmonary. Again, is imbalanced data set. I have to be careful about how to split the data in the 5-4 class validation. I would like to talk about the framing 5 generation of feature engineering. This is the all I learned in my PhD. This is the highlighted in my PhD. Data engineering, data pre-processing is important as the complexity of the model. If we miss how to understand the data, how to make the good feature from our data set, we mislead the data. We cannot trust that the result we receive from that. So there is the 5 generation. Actually, we work with Eve about that. So the first and second generation is that the conventional I mentioned, and the second one, I call this term knowledge augmented. Maybe others call something else, but use the Go terms, use the pathway. Already other groups also have done that. But in the third generation, mechanistic paired sample features, I think only you can find a paper from the former graduate student in the Lucier's lab, and I think my chapter book and my journal is the second research on that. And then fourth generation is knowledge augmented mechanistic features. That's we have done in the study 1 and study 3. And the study fifth generation actually is, that's the innovation we have done in the study 3. We made fusion of our features. We made the multimodality of the different features, pathway and variance, effect size and the variance. I'm not going to talk about the detail of that. So we made a statistical to make that the fusion in the features. So that's the whole overview of the study 3. We have done the information level, knowledge level, and the fusion feature level to understand how it works. And after machine learning failed, we went through the deep learning, and also I tried different deep learning, and finally I came up based on the parsimony theory I followed with the hybrid learning, with the fusion of the algorithms. We came and we got the result with 3 of the log fold change and the pathway, log odds ratio, and z-scores. So this is the overview of all my PhD. I have done with all the data set, 4 distinct data set, and all the model, how I went through that, how Eve guided me step by step, how to prove how features is important, how the complexity of the model works. And that's the summary of my publication. We had multiple podium in AMI 2024, 2025 in two workshop and multiple talk in the MC Bios EMEA. And also I have a chapter book in Nature and the JMR journal. They published already. I have two more journal papers actually is under review. Still, we are working on that. So I extend my gratitude to Yves for his valuable guidance through my PhD, and special thanks to my committee, and special thanks to Karen for stay with me since first semester, guide me for everything. And that's my passion. I would like to stay, help patient, and let's changing the outcome together and help our physicians to understand the AI, how AI can help them, and hope we get a better future. Thank you.
We have time for a couple of questions.
You showed an incredible result of your testing data set performing better than your training data set. How do you think that happened? And like, is that something that was due to just like something particular about the data or your design, or then a loss of procedure? How I
Actually,
do that with my data sets?
of course, it's regularly happen. If you have more sample for test, as I did that, if you notice the number of sample for test was more than the validation. Validation is help us to find the hyperparameters, but we wanted enough the test sample to look at that, to understand and show up that the result. It's happened, it's common. And another thing, in the study tree, we selected manually our tests. If sometimes you select very clean test, of course, you get a better performance in test rather than the validation. But for sure, when we want to select the model, first we look at the validation. We have to have the actually stable standard deviation, and then we look at that the test is common. Kendall? Yes.
For study one, you mentioned use MLOps to test multiple models autonomously using AI agents. Could you describe the process of what it is like to engineer these agents, and what do they take as inputs, and how do they autonomously make these decisions to?
So as I have done also in a study tree, we put the multiple model, and selecting the model would be one of those hyperparameters. As we put for example, we have learning rate, we have this. In the sweep section in the MLOps, also you have an option. You put for example, random forest, XGBoost, MLP, blah, blah. And this is also kind of your hyperparameters go through the sweep, and you put the threshold. My threshold always based on my data set was the precision. And based on that, again, is based on how you write the code. If you wrote the code, you want to stop once you meet the threshold, the model is running all the experiment. Once you get that model and you meet the threshold, stop there. Hope I answered.
Process really GPU intensive, or?
Of course, you need GPU. Yeah.
Okay, one last question.
Yeah, you mentioned that you use different methods like CNN and all stuff. Did you try?
Different what? Sorry, I couldn't.
You mentioned that you use the multiple deep learning methods as well, like CNN and all stuff. Do you try to use autoencoders, UMaps, and what are the metrics that you use to figure out which model was used?
Of course, I'm going to talk in detail in my dissertation defense. I use the CNN encoder, hybrid encoder with MLP, and also fusion, transformer, self-attention, and multiple models. I will talk about that. That's the impressive result. Would be.